chicken tortellini soup with kale.
Yes.
Fresh kale.
Fresh kale. Very yummy.
Yes, Chef Melissa Sheridan from Shoprite is here, and I love the way you got all this stuff prepped. Come to my house and prep all my food for me.
I just make it look easy.
I know. Because I'll tell you, you have to get your food prepped, I think, before you start anything. And I have a bowl that I chop all my vegetables, get them all ready, and then when I assemble it, it all goes smoothly.
That's what you want. You want to have what we say in the culinary world, your mise en place set. It makes it easier.
Do we have your mic on?
Is
yep,
my mic on?
Okay, yep,
Am I good?
Good.
Can you hear? So it makes it easier. And then also, too, if you don't have something, you might have something else you can substitute out, and you know ahead of time. So it makes it...
I always get my ingredients out first because there's nothing worse than finding out you got everything done, you started it, and found out you needed a half a cup of heavy cream and you didn't have it.
Exactly.
It's like, well, now what do I do?
You don't want to use skim milk
No.
because that takes away from the flavor. That's the yumminess.
So what are we making today?
Today we're going to make a great chicken tortellini soup, and it has some kale in it. And I really like the soup because especially after all the snow we've got in the last couple of days.
I love soups.
This is a great meal within itself, and we have our pan on. We're just going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil, just about 2 tablespoons or so.
Now, is that extra virgin or just regular?
This is the extra virgin.
Okay.
And honestly, I love our ShopRite extra virgin. It's
good.
a great product.
I love extra virgin.
And remember, whenever you add oil into a pan, you want to make sure your pan's hot and then add your oil because oil actually expands when it heats up. So this way you know you're not pan frying, which also helps.
That's good, yeah.
And so we're going to add
That's a good tip.
We're going to add our chopped onions, and this is just a medium-sized Spanish onion, and then our carrots and our celery, and this is called the mirepoix. And we're just going to sweat this right out, and of course, magic of television, crank the heat up just so everything cooks. And you can hear that sizzle, and we're just going to start sweating all of this out. And traditionally with a mirepoix, you want 2 parts onion to 1 part carrot to 1 part celery. So if you're
no garlic in there.
No garlic.
Okay.
And this is just a straight up regular mirepoix. There's a white mirepoix too that actually you use parsnips, or you can also use leeks in it too, which is common.
That's when you want it to be white, all white.
And that's, you don't want that, any color because some of that orange color will come out in the cooking process, and it also adds a very nice flavor to it. So we're just going to start sweating this. So we're letting that cook. Now, once your mirepoix starts cooking a little bit, I'm going to add just a tablespoon or so of the garlic. Now, if you're
gotta have garlic in it.
You have to. Now, if you are a garlic lover like myself, you can always add a little more just for that extra flavor.
Once again. Garlic.
And you can start to smell the flavors coming out. And the key is, too, when you're worried about sweating out your vegetables and everything, your onions are going to turn color. You're going to want them to turn a little clearer in color and everything.
Translucent, I think they
call
them.
Yes. See, look at you with the technical terms. You're so good. Now, at this point, I'd like to start building the flavor of the soup, especially if I know I'm going to eat it that day. Now, with soups and everything, it's kind of like your marinara sauce. It's always better the next day when all the flavors meld together. But I
can't believe people throw stuff out, their leftovers.
Oh,
it's like,
no.
They're better the next day.
It is so much better the next day. Those flavors just build and they meld together. And the nice part about this is I always start building my flavor profiles and my ingredients. And today we're using Mrs. Dash. Now, I love this.
I saw that.
We're using a lot of low sodium products to bring in a little bit of that heart healthy and then the little extra nutrients. So we're just going to add just a...
What is it? While you keep doing it, I'm going to read the
label.
Alrighty.
You read that label. And I add a little bit at a time when I'm doing this too, just to kind of help build those flavors and everything. A couple of bay leaves. Now, one other optional ingredient is red pepper flakes. Now, I like this with a little bit of spice, especially on a cold day, warm you up. So I do add those in right about now, and then I'll add a little bit in at the end. As I said, it's up to you with the red pepper flakes. You can start to smell the aromas and everything. And those bay leaves are nice because they bring all the flavors together.
I'm getting around you, and I'm going to stir for you.
Alrighty, that sounds great. Next, what we're going to do is I'm going to add my tomatoes. And these are fire roasted tomatoes. It's a Hunt product.
Fire roasted, wow.
And it's nice because
Did I see a bay leaf go in there?
There is bay leaves in there too. So it's very, very nice. And also when it comes to this, with the fire roasted, it adds a nice earthy element to it.
Oh,
and
this smells wonderful.
Great tomato to use. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to actually add some of our chicken stock. Now, as I said, we're going to be using a low sodium chicken stock to kind of cut back a little bit. Now, if you're a soup person like I am, I love my soup like super chunky and a lot of stuff in it. I'm not a huge, as much as I like broth, I want to know I'm eating something too.
I'm with you.
So we're gonna let that go. Now the onions and stuff, we could have cooked it a little longer, but magic of television, right?
That's okay.
So, and then at this point, I'm going to add just a little more of that Mrs. Dash for that flavor. There we go. And then, of course, one of my favorite tricks that I love to use is the oven roasted rotisserie chickens that we have at Shoprite. And you can also purchase it with the meat already pulled off for you. Because when you get home from work, do you want to really
get your hands into it?
Exactly, no. So we have some nice little tricks of the trade. Pour that right in.
Well, it makes it a lot easier to make a home-cooked meal. Without all that, you know, going out and buying prepared food. That has more salt in it usually.
It does have a little more salt, but we do have our nice organic line, which makes it easy too. Now we're just gonna start stirring that kale right in. The kale we're using today actually comes in, and it's in our produce department. It already comes.
It's clean?
Clean, de-ribbed, everything.
Oh,
smaller,
de-ribbed too.
De-ribbed, smaller little pieces, so it's very, very nice.
You have little elves back there
We
de-ribbing
do,
it?
we do. It's the magic of ShopRite. We really take pride in our little elves. And then finally, our Buitoni fresh pasta, which I love. You find this in our deli section. It's right around the corner. And it's a fresher style pasta. It's not frozen, and it's not a dry pasta, so it doesn't have that chalkiness to it. You're gonna let this just kind of sit, and we're gonna add this right in, bring it up to a boil, and your pasta will actually just cook right in there. Now, if you want, if you're making this ahead of time, you can actually cook your pasta separately and then ladle the hot soup right over. And as you can see, of course, we're not heating up as normal. But
well, that's okay. I mean, this is the way it is.
It's okay. It is the way it is. And just let that cook right down. And it's that easy to have a nice soup, and you pair it with some of our bakery
Well, I'm
French
looking
bread.
at this and talk about, I know you got it on camera. This is
so
just
good.
a really wonderfully
Let this
colorful
kinda sit.
soup.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And add a few croutons to the top, or a little bit of
I like the
grated
Parm
cheese.
We're on the same. See, Ann, we're always on the same page. We love it. And the cheese here at you know, our cheese shop at ShopRite, you can, especially our Schenectady, our Niskayuna ShopRite, Roxanne in the cheese department, she can really help guide you.
And just grate that fresh
just grate it right
that.
over the top, and then.
Oh, and sometimes it'll make this soup just a little milkier looking.
It does, and it's
flavor.
that cheesiness,
oh my
that
gosh.
gooiness.
I wish
and
you
then
could be
these are
here because
baguettes.
it smells wonderful.
So,
and what would you serve with this? Bread, crusty bread?
I serve our nice crusty bakery fresh baguettes that we make in. You know, this is
They're
a great
wonderful
crust.
like that. I love them like that.
And I'm just a dipper in a big bowl of soup.
Okay, got it.
On a nice day. I mean, on a nice winter's day, this is the way to go. And this is nice too because there's a lot, as you can see, there's a lot in here, but it's nothing over the top. Where I mean, it's not.
Very quick.
It's very, very
quick to make.
Let it just simmer for a little bit.
Everything else.
Yes. Well, even that, it doesn't take that long.
No.
So, which is very, very nice and.
Okay, I'm going to tell the people who's on next week, but we're going to come back. We're going to come back. We're going to be talking about the Selma 50 commemoration, which is really a big thing coming up. We're going to be talking about the Illusionists, the new Broadway show. We're talking about Cap Rep's souvenir. We're going to be talking about Waiting for Godot from Confetti Stage. We're going to be talking about Schenectady Restaurant Week, and we're having our animal communicator back on again. And if there was a dog here, he'd be just wagging his tail.
Yes.
This is wonderful. Melissa Sheridan from ShopRite made this wonderful chicken tortellini with kale. Yes. But you could probably make that with noodles too if you wanted to.
You can make it with noodles, and you can also, and if you're not a kale lover, I know
who's
kale's
not
like
a
the
kale
big
lover?
thing.
It's really good.
Baby spinach goes great in this.
Oh yeah.
And then I've even done this vegetarian style. So there's many different ways to make this soup.
One thing that I'd suggest is if you've got lettuce like romaine and maybe those
Put
outside leaves, you can chop those up.
That's even good too, or even collard greens.
Yeah, collard greens. I love collard greens.
They're so
I grow them. Yeah, I love them.
Good.
Eat healthy and check out a soup like this. Make it tonight for your family. They'll love you for it. Thank you.